I think that Linda McMahon has taken too many folding chairs to the head.
Welcome to Retail Focus, brought to you by 14:59 p.m. Retail Focus provides insightful, timely, and engaging discussions on the latest trends, news, and developments in retail, e-commerce, and technology. We aim to inform and inspire professionals, enthusiasts, and anyone curious about the evolving landscape of these industries. And now, here are your hosts, John Suder and Bart Mroz.
Support for Retail Focus comes from Nerve Tonic Brand. Born in 2012 out of sheer boredom and questionable decisions, Nerve Tonic Brand has somehow defied the odds and logic to become a powerhouse online lifestyle brand. What started as a whim has transformed into a global hub of edgy clothing, snarky accessories, and unapologetic lifestyle essentials for those who prefer their style with a side of sarcasm. Sign up for the newsletter today to score 10% off your first order and stay ahead of the game with exclusive drops and discounts. That's nervetonicbrand.com, your style elixir. Hello, welcome to Retail Focus. I'm John Suder. I'm here with my co-host, Bart Mroz.
Hello.
Hello, Bart. Before we get started today, Bart, why don't you tell me what your awesome thing is this week?
Well, it was my birthday yesterday, so...
Happy birthday. Here, look, I lit you a candle.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, buddy. I get to spend the whole day. I got to spend the whole
30.
I got to spend the whole day with the kiddo, so that was good. That's my best thing of the week.
That's very nice. Very nice. Very wholesome amongst all the chaos. You need some...
We went to aquarium. We got to hang out. It was great.
Very nice. Well, my awesome thing this week is the Masters Golf Tournament. I look forward to this every year. It's quite a majestic scene.
Yeah.
It's tradition. It's like a grandma's attic full of stuff that's somehow cool. You know, it's you get the green jacket, you got the beautiful course. Just everything about it is so special. So, and the funny thing is it's so carefully manicured and presented. It's really one of the best sports presentations out there. I mean, there was rumors that like the bird sounds on TV are fake. You could see that the course is over manicured. I heard that they dye the ponds a certain colored blue. They force bloom the azaleas a week before the tournament starts and then go and plant them. So that's why everything looks beautiful. And that's why it costs $13,000 for a weekend at the Masters.
It's just beyond me. And they're so strict on like, no phones, no this. And it's like, guys, at some point, this is too, like, it's the total opposite of the waste management tournament.
Oh, yeah. Waste management is the kid you went to high school that picked his nose.
It's the Billy Madison stuff, right?
Is the kid that showed up for gym class with a bow tie. Yeah,
it's too. I mean, it's starting to be. Listen, I've never been into golf for real, but I've seen the master stuff, and it's like, are we just way overdoing it? You know, the tradition of that is just too much. I think.
Let's see,
I don't know how it's going to stick around. Like, how long is it going to stick around? You know,
like as long as the money's still there.
Yeah,
it's all about money down there.
It's all about money right there.
Yeah,
all right, fair enough.
It's hard to get into the course. It's hard to become a member at Augusta. Everything is expensive except for the food. The prices have remained unchanged since the 70s, I believe.
Wow. I saw a guy. I know we're just talking about golf now, but I saw a guy online. He had tickets. Won tickets for lottery or whatever, not lottery, but actually got tickets. And he didn't tell anybody, just his family. Then got a letter like 2 months later saying, you are not welcome and you're banned for life because apparently there's some scam that somebody was selling his tickets online. He still doesn't know how that happened or what's happening. He put him away, put him in a safe and stuff like that. And he's like, I don't even know. And he's trying to like say, what's up? Like, what's going on? And he's like, here's my tickets. He send them in. And he's like, they're the tickets I got. Like, I didn't buy them from him. I didn't sell them on eBay. None of that.
Reselling is a no-no.
He's like, banned for life. And he's like, what is happening?
Banned for life.
Oh. It's that's nightmare. I get it. I get what they're doing, but just like, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm dealing with Facebook. They banned a shop that I had online like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm still trying to unwind it. No reason why.
You just never know. My mom's
Never know.
PayPal got locked out completely. They're like, well, no, we're just going to lock it down completely down.
Yeah, they
I'm
do it
like,
on
what
Etsy
is
all the
happening?
time. And that freaks me out. It's like, Etsy just goes, and then you appeal, and they go, oh, sorry, it was an automated thing.
Or they're like, yo, appeal, but we're still going to close it. You're like, what are you talking about? It wasn't even me. Like, it just makes no sense. Anyway, we should have better systems for that stuff.
Yes, I agree. All right, let's dive into it. Our first topic for this week, more tariff chaos. Let's dive back into the whirlwind week of tariffs, market meltdowns, and e-commerce panic, shall we? First, we have Trump's tariff tornado. President Trump decided to spice things up with sweeping tariffs on nearly all imports, starting with a 10% baseline tax on April 5th. But why stop there? By April 9th, he slapped higher rates on goods from 57 countries, including a jaw-dropping 104% tariff on Chinese goods. The goal? Protect American industries and reduce the trade deficit, or so the administration claims. Critics and most economists are calling it the largest peacetime tax hike in U.S. history. The stock market didn't exactly roll out the welcome mat for these tariffs. In fact, it staged a full-blown revolt. Over 3 days, global equity markets lost $10 trillion in value. Yes, trillion with a T, with the S&P suffering its worst 4-day drop since the 1950s. Investors are bracing for a bear market, while Trump casually remarked that the market might need to take its medicine. Translation, brace yourselves for more pain. If you thought the pinch was limited to Wall Street, think again. Economists are warning that these tariffs will hit consumers hard by summer. Food prices are expected to rise first, followed by increases in cars, electronics, and apparel. A Yale study predicts that Americans will lose $4,400 in purchasing power this year alone. Inflation is set to double the Federal Reserve's target rate by Memorial Day, just in time for your pricey backyard barbecue. But let's talk about e-commerce. Online retailers like Amazon and Temu are sweating bullets. With international supply chains under siege from higher import costs, profit margins are shrinking faster than your patience at a checkout. Amazon alone could lose up to $10 billion annually thanks to these tariffs. The days of cheap online shopping may be numbered as platforms deal with uncertainty and grapple with rising prices and supply chain disruptions. So let's talk specifically about Amazon. Amazon's recent decision to cancel orders from Chinese suppliers is the corporate equivalent of flipping the monopoly board in frustration. Here's what went down. The tariff spree, which cranked up taxes on Chinese imports to 104% and then later to 125%, made sourcing products from China ridiculously expensive. Amazon, known for its razor-thin margins, decided it wasn't worth footing the bill for beach chairs, scooters, and air conditioners. Instead, it canceled orders outright, leaving vendors scrambling to find new buyers for their inventory. Amazon's strategy? Dodge and deflect. Amazon has long relied on direct import orders, buying goods in bulk and shipping to the U.S. warehouse to save on costs. But with tariffs now eating into profits, the company shifted the financial burden back to the vendors. Vendors can either absorb these costs or try selling elsewhere. Good luck with that. The ripple effect hit Chinese sellers hard. Many are debating whether to hike prices for U.S. consumers or exit the market entirely. Some are exploring alternative regions like Europe and Canada, while others are simply throwing in the towel. Fun fact, China accounts for half of Amazon sellers. So this isn't just a hiccup, it's a full-blown supply chain migraine. So what's Amazon's next move? In response to the chaos, Amazon is reportedly planning a $15 billion expansion in its U.S. warehouse network to reduce reliance on foreign suppliers. It's a bold move, but let's be honest, it's also a way to dodge tariffs while keeping its prime promise intact. But this isn't just about Amazon. It's about the future of global e-commerce. Tariffs are driving up costs around the board, forcing businesses and consumers alike to rethink their spending habits. For Amazon, it means fewer cheap imports and more logistical headaches. For shoppers, say goodbye to bargain bin prices. In short, tariffs turned Amazon's supply chain into a dumpster fire, and now everyone, from vendors to consumers, are feeling the heat. So what's next? The future of global trade and e-commerce looks rocky. Tariffs are driving up costs across industries while sparking retaliatory measures from trading partners like China and the EU. Consumers can expect higher prices across the board, and businesses may face political backlash if they pass on those costs too quickly. Buckle up because the tariff storm is far from.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, where do we start?
Where do we?
Well, so cheap goods is interesting because they also took out the thing that was like under whatever 800, whatever.
Minimis exemption.
Yeah. Which is on one hand, like if you really think about it, on one hand, it's actually not bad because overconsumption here is insane, right? We buy way too much stuff. Like overconsumption is insane, right? That's why you have all these like storage places doing well because we just buy too many things, right?
Yeah, that's
like
true.
if you go just down the line, right? The issue is like, regular manufacturers not coming back here. It's just not. It's useless. It's pointless. It's that. The problem, one of the biggest problems is like, if you look at it, people are like, oh, it's cheap labor. I'm like, it's not only cheap labor, it's the whole logistics of it. It's the supply chain fully, where in China, it's not only that you have raw materials, but they have the suppliers all lined up. You can't do that here.
Right.
That takes time. That's like years. Like bringing all that back is not.
Yeah.
We are economy here in the States we're a service economy. We're not a product company.
If we all of a sudden everybody just said, you know what, this is the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. We got to bring the factories back here. It would take 20 years at least to figure everything out. Let's just talk about cars for a second. The greatest example is when you put a car together. It's not just like, okay, they dump a bunch of parts on the ground and you put the car together. The parts go across border 5-10 times just for one section of a car. And now you're going to tariff it each time. And then the things that come in, like batteries, you can't make batteries here.
No, because you have raw materials, stuff like that. I was watching something, press on nails. Perfect example, right? I was just watching something. And the reporter was asking them, and he's like, no, it's never going to go away. It's never going to get made in U.S. because of raw materials, of how those raw materials, where that process looks like. They're like, we're so efficient, not only manufacturing that automatically, but also efficient where our supply chain looks like. You don't have to, it's right there. It's down the street from us. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of those little things. People don't look at how much things are, or how things are made. Like I said, we're a service economy. We're not a product economy.
Yeah.
The only good thing we've seen is like that video we were watching that I sent you this morning to our groups is like manufacturing, like rail and things like that here would be awesome, right? Because you're interconnecting cities, travel's different. Like doing that kind of stuff.
And it has a knock-on effect because then you increase people traveling from one state to another, which increases tourism, which increases
all
that's
those
what
things.
I don't get with this country. We're such a car-based country. Whereas you look at, France just unveiled this new high-speed rail. China's got trains that go 200.
But that's the thing. Look at China, right? Everybody is like, oh, their factories are child labor. They're not. They're very automated now. And so if you look at their 20 years ago, look at what the rail looks like in China. Look at now. They're fully interconnected. Yep. They've built all that.
Yep. And there was a great graph. Did you guys send it to me in our group?
I don't remember. Yeah.
There was a chart, and because I live in Philly, so SEPTA just put out this really bad report. They're like 25% service cuts, elimination of like they're killing the bus line that ran by my house as a kid. Like they're killing all these lines. And somebody prepared a map, and it had Chengdu 2010 showing their rail system, and
it was like two different things, right?
It was a blank space, and then
and now it's like this.
Had SEPTA's map, and it said Chengdu 2025, and it was like this fully developed rail system, and they had SEPTA's map, and it was even smaller. It showed.
Well, part of that is oil companies, obviously, right? Like that's what they want to live on, and what that is. But like, people don't realize having if you live in a major city, you have pretty good belt, but Philly's not that great in that.
No. Like
New York City, as much as dirty as it is, like you can get everywhere in the subway.
Anywhere.
Right. But there's places like
not every city is like that. And
no, like we're kind of lucky with Northeast Corridor because so the crazy thing about Amtrak, the only place that Amtrak actually makes money is the Northeast Corridor. It's the most traveled. You know what I mean? But like, because we just don't have it. We should, and we don't. It's crazy.
Yeah. And just one last thought and then we'll move on. It's the fault of the lobbyists. And you brought up the oil companies in that they've been, there are certain think tanks that have been trying to keep this down for years, that because they don't want to see progression in high-speed rail, because then that cuts into the oil profits.
Yeah.
They've killed so many projects across this country because of that.
without thinking long term, or we can actually have interconnected stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's so many just like it's a short term thinking about just one problem instead of having this longer thing. But here we are. Moving on.
We are. All right. I don't know what's next. We'll obviously keep a close eye on this because it affects all of us. So there we go. All right. Our next story. Google's AI talent strategy. This is really interesting. Google, in its quest to keep top AI minds from defecting to competitors like OpenAI or Meta, has come up with a rather creative strategy. They're paying some of their AI employees to do absolutely nothing for a year. Yes, you heard that right. No codings, no meetings, no emails. Just a year-long paid vacation as long as they don't join the enemy. Sounds like an episode of Silicon Valley. This isn't just a dream job. It's part of Google's aggressive non-compete agreements. These contracts are designed to prevent AI talent from jumping ship, especially in the UK, where such agreements are still legal. The idea is simple. Pay them to stay out of the game rather than risk losing them to rivals. But here's the catch. While it may sound like a dream, many AI researchers feel left behind. The AI world moves at lightning speed, and being out of the loop for a year can be career suicide. It's like being stuck in a time capsule while the rest of the world innovates without you. So, is this strategy genius or just a desperate attempt to hold on to talent? Either way, it's clear that Google is willing to spend to keep its AI edge sharp. And who knows, maybe doing nothing will be the new productivity hack in Silicon Valley. There's also another note here. Shopify CEO Toby Lutke sparked a large debate this week by laying out a striking new rule. No team at the company can request to hire unless they can demonstrate that AI is incapable of handling the work. It's a sharp break from the traditional growth mindset in tech, particularly coming from a firm that's already deeply embedded automation into its operations. But this isn't just a budget decision, it's a worldview. If generative AI can take on tasks that are routine, scalable, and even mildly creative, what's the rationale for growing teams the old-fashioned way? So, yeah, we got a little AI creeping further into our brains. Oh, you saw the director of education called AI A1?
Steak. Ooh, steak for lunch.
I thought it was steak. I think that Linda McMahon has taken too many folding chairs to the head. That's
whatever. I mean, it's I can't even go that route, man. The Toby thing, that whole thing was leaked, but also like, in the past few weeks, we've been looking at vibe coding and stuff like that, where it's like these people are using AI to do that.
Vibe trading.
Well, that's a different story, but that's going to happen more and more. That comes with technology every single day, and people want it to be faster and faster. That's going to happen. So for me, it's on one hand, great. We can do a lot of work, but junior developers need to learn. So you can't really just do that. Yes, there's menial tasks. I think there's going to be a cottage industry of senior developers having really, really good consulting jobs while fixing stuff. It just is, right? People who've been around long enough be like, all right, well, you screwed us up. Because that opens up us to security issues. And yes, humans are flawed too, but we're building AI too. So it's like security issues. What was the other one we saw a few weeks ago? Somebody was coding for 4 months. And they're like,
oh, yeah, he
posted on Reddit. They go, I lost.
Forgot to lock something down. Yeah.
No, not even locked down something down. I coded something in and it broke anything and I don't know how to go back. And everybody's like, didn't you use a Git repo of some kind to do version control of anything?
What is version control?
What is version control?
Version control, you speak up.
And you're like, what are you doing? But this, for me, I think because we come from the e-com world and stuff like that. So for me, security and payments, like that is scary. Because you obviously have these apps out there, people start using them, especially with payments, especially security, and that info is going to be gone.
Yep.
There's issues, a whole bunch of issues there. But it's coming. I mean, it's coming everywhere. We're using more and more and more all the time. So menial tasks is going to disappear. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Let's look at it again, back to the talent part of it. I mean, obviously being involved anything in AI with the Magnificent Seven companies, you're going to make a lot of money. And it really is a choice. It's like, some of these engineers make close to $1 million or more. And with their bonuses and whatever, they make a crap ton of money. The temptation to walk away from that for an unknown. I mean, I can't imagine laying in bed thinking, do I make $5 million here? Or maybe I'll make $100 million if I join this other guy, but maybe the other guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
That is just know.
But that comes around. Remember the first startup bubble happened?
That reminds me of .com days. But the numbers, all it is, the numbers are just bigger now.
I mean, you think about it. We started our careers in internet, just started, like that's the play. Like you started before that, but like, it's funny because we've seen it all. We not only seen multiple recessions, we've seen multiple internet bubbles and trends that came and gone, and then like got revived again. Like my favorite is like there's always the revival of pets.com, right? Remember back in the day, that was like a lot of money went into it. And it wasn't, if you think about it, it wasn't really that a lot of money. And that busted all over the place. But then you have PetSmart, and we worked for a pet company, and there's a whole bunch of them that just did it and did it right. So you like this whole circle thing. It's really weird. The same thing with, you can look at streaming
my web
services. Yeah, I mean web. Oh my god! And now you have Instacart, and everybody delivers anyway. And you mean like all that stuff has happened once, and then it just progressed.
Yeah. I think this is a little different in that AI is not going to go away.
No.
I think what's going to happen is some smart money is going to make some mistakes and invest in the wrong technology.
Oh, it's going to be, it's not some, it's going to be 90%.
Yeah. Especially these guys that are doing the wrappers and trying to make money on a wrapper. It's like,
I actually disagree on that. I think the people who actually are doing the wrap stuff are going to actually make more because you're not putting money into the actual technology in the back end.
True. But what happened? Well, okay. I'm not a technology surgeon.
You take a wrapper, and if that goes away, you start wrapping into other things.
What I was
like
you say. What happens when that source wrapper like changes or goes away?
7 other companies are trying to pull it off. Amazon is trying it too. Like everybody's trying it. So we have this wrapper.
We got to watch out for Amazon. I saw a couple reports on CNBC about how they're working in AI, and they're even coming after Starlink. I mean,
they're all going after everybody. Like, but that's the thing. You have these, but that's competition. That's the whole point of this. You can't have a monopoly on things.
No.
Right. So you compete. All these big companies are competing against, everybody's going after each other now for this. So what you win on is having a good wrapper, having a very specific technology or specific service. You're doing services again to do other things, right? Like think about, I don't know, stake, very consolidated or a very specific invoicing for plumbers with AI, whatever. Like you can kind of do those little things, and
it's solving the right problems instead of just coming up
and faster, right? You no longer like, I need an app to do invoicing for local plumbers where I live, and I want data, and I want it my way of doing it, not taking somebody else's. And this is where it's going to, right? It's not like, oh, now I got to fit my business model into a service that generates, QuickBooks against everybody, right?
Right.
I want QuickBooks for me, for my business, because I want to do it this way. Now, there's rules to accounting, but I want to do it my way, right? I want to do customer service this way. I want to send it out. What you got? Like, can I build this faster? You used to have to go to like developers, and like it has changed the speed of that.
Yeah. No notes. Perfect. I agree. Speed,
are we recording this? Because that was good.
Write that one down, kids. All right. We're going to do our final story. I thought this was going to be a long episode, but it'll be a quick one today because I got to get back and watch some golf. All right. Ready? All right. OpenAI's secret device. Here's the latest from the Silicon Valley soap opera. OpenAI is reportedly eyeing a $500 million takeover of IO Products, the AI hardware startup co-founded by none other than Johnny Ive, the aluminum design wizard behind the iPhone, and OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman. Yes, you heard right. Altman might be buying his own project. Classic. So what's IO Products cooking up? Rumor has it they're working on some futuristic AI gadgets, including a screenless phone, whatever that means, and smart home devices. The goal? To create AI hardware that's less socially disruptive than the iPhone. Translation? They're trying to make something that doesn't turn us all into screen-addicting zombies. That ship has sailed. But this is where it gets juicy. OpenAI isn't looking just to buy. They might settle for a partnership instead. Why? Maybe $500 million feels steep for a startup still in its own concept phase. Or maybe Altman just wants to keep things casual. Either way, this could be OpenAI's big play to step into consumer hardware and go head-to-head with Apple. A bold move, considering Apple is also one of their key partners. For now, IO Products is more hype than hardware. With Ive and Altman at the helm, This could either be the next iPhone moment or just another overhyped Silicon Valley experiment. IO Products was established by Johnny Ive with Sam Altman, who share a vision of innovative AI-powered devices that enhance human-computer interaction with a design emphasis from Ive Studio, Love From. I am still a Johnny Ive fan. That guy really, he made his mark in the design world, and now
He did.
And now he can do whatever he wants. I think this is interesting. When they said screenless device, didn't we just talk about that Humane pin? That was a screenless device.
That didn't work. And that was from Apple guys. And that was from Apple people.
That didn't work out too well, did it? So
No.
I of course, there's no drawings, there's no concept of any of this looks like.
I just don't understand this. Is it? Yeah. The only thing you think is always glasses, right? Like that's the first place you go to. And I think Meta has been doing really good with that, with their Ray-Bans and kind of going that route. I don't know. Screenless device. I don't know. Although the combo with Sam Altman and Johnny,
yeah, it could be
lightning.
It could be lightning in a bottle, or it could just be just a hype machine cranked up.
Although I gotta say, so Johnny Ive was great. I think he was best when Steve was around.
Of course.
That was when he was best. I think Johnny went a little too far into overdoing it with some stuff. If you look at his whole history, because I think Steve discovered him. He was working for industrial design internal of Apple when Steve came back. Mm-hmm. That's when they started doing really well in iPhone and stuff like that. But when because Steve just had this weird laser focus all of a sudden,
And I use that term lightning in a bottle. These are two people that came together, and it was like, that is a very hard dynamic to recreate. And then these two people who had a shared vision, and where Steve was absolutely a visionary and Johnny Ive understood exactly what the guy was thinking. So it's like, Johnny, let's do this. And Johnny would just go,
yeah. And I think when Steve left, all of us, that has changed, and it definitely changed. And Tim Cook is a logistics guy.
He's supply chain guy. He's not.
Anyway, back to these guys. Who knows? I mean, Sam kind of comes from Apple too, right? Or he was around Apple at some point. What this is, who knows? But having Johnny Ives on it would be interesting.
I know OpenAI just updated their. I think it's 4.0. I don't know whatever it's called this week, but they've updated it so it remembers your chats. I know Perplexity does that a little bit, but it's becoming more of your friend.
Oh yeah, I memean they're all storing the memory stuff. It makes sense because it's you bounce it off of it,
which is good because if you're doing a certain type of work, it's going to go. I remember that because it knows that I'm doing research for my podcast, so it kind of knows what to spit back to me, which I think is really cool. I think the next step is going to be more shopping integrated tools, which Perplexity already does a pretty good job at, and another browser. I think there's going to be an AI-powered browser that's going to come out this year.
Possibly. That'd be interesting.
I mean, but we don't need another browser. I already have 5 that I don't use, but, I don't know.
Could be in my brain. It should be just shove it in there.
Put it in my brain.
Can I just turn it off? Can I just turn me off for a bit?
If I had a reboot button for my life, I would pay for that.
Just off. Can AI just give me I'm in Fiji, somewhere on the beach, just put me back in the Matrix. Don't take me out. Put me back in. Yeah. Can I go back in?
Just let me check out for a couple days. I'll be back.
Anyway,
all right. That's it for this week. We hope you learned something, but if not, at least you wasted some time. We'll be back next week with more questionable advice and unsolicited opinions. If you'd enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. If you prefer the video experience, you can check out our YouTube channel. And lastly, check us out on socials. We're on Bluesky, Twitter, and Facebook. Sign up for the newsletter where you get extended show recaps and behind-the-scenes info on the show. Links are in the show notes. Bart, closing talk.
Oh, stay sane, I think.
I'm going to stay sane. I'm going to watch golf all weekend.
There you go.
All right. All right. We'll see you on the internet next week. Until next time, may it be fast, your video calls be clear, and your mute button always work when you need it most. Adios.
Adios.
Peace out. This is the right thing to do. We gotta bring the factories back here.
What do you do now,